It's a great example right out of the gate for what the countdown is. It's not the 10 best players in New York, but it's who will have the biggest impact for better or worse. So that's how Starling Marte finds himself at our list at number 10. Danny, of the four of us, you were the only one to have Marte on your list. You had him at number 6. Tell us why.
Yeah, I think when I look at this list and the body of work, I'm thinking about a guy who, when he's not in this game, when he's not a part of this team, you feel his absence. You can feel that lineup doesn't have as much spark. The team, I feel like the chemistry is different. The excitement is different around this guy. 2 years ago, he stole 47 bases. That was before the bases got bigger, right? He hit 310. He had a 132 weighted runs created plus. That's 32 better than the league. You see him there in his defense and his glove. Like, when this guy is in the lineup, he makes them better, significantly better. And so when he's not there, so I put him on the list because I think without him, they don't generate runs. They don't do as well. He has to be in that lineup.
And why was he not on your list?
I just feel like there are more players on the Mets that will have more potential impact there. I'm looking at some leaps forward, especially from the catcher, Francisco Alvarez, who I'm expecting big things from. Look, Kodai Senga's injury sort of puts him firmly in the mix on that list in a high spot as well, because he's their best pitcher, and it's not even close, and he's already hurt, and we're going to have to sort of go through the motions here as he goes through rehab and gets better and hopefully gets back on the mound as soon as possible so we can see him pitch. So I feel like there's all these guys there who will impact the Mets more than a 35-year-old outfielder whose speed game is probably, you know, not going to leap forward this year. Although I will say I was down there last week, Sal, and I was talking to some of the players about stealing bases because the Mets were really efficient at it.
In person or on social media?
No, both, actually, but as you know.
Yeah.
But Francisco Lindor said, I don't see any reason why this guy, Marte, can't get back to what he used to do, stealing, or he said 50 bags. Marte's never stolen 50 in his career, but he's gotten 47 twice, and he's a very good base stealer. So if he is healthy with the new rules, he can really impact. And then Danny is right, and I'm wrong.
Well, the reason,
right.
to answer Francisco Lindor's question, why can't he do that again? It's because age comes for all of us, and we only get worse as we get further away from our 20s, unfortunately.
Maybe the truest thing ever said on this dark turn.
That is the answer, Francisco Lindor, to be clear. A little, like, I don't know if this is more... I took this into, like, I tried to over-conceptualize this a little bit too much, but I felt like on the whole, this list should be skewed towards Yankees because I think the range of outcomes for the Mets season is just sort of more limited than the Yankees. To me, the 10 most impactful players in New York, well, I'm talking, are you determining whether or not I see this team play in October? And it's really hard for me to think that Starling Marte on a Mets team that's likely to finish around 500 is really the difference between whether or not, like, they make the postseason or not. Fangraphs Zips projections had him projected at a lower WAR this year than Omar Narvaez, and that seems a little rude
harsh
to Marte, frankly. But I think it does sort of contextualize the fact that, like, to your point, like, there's a lot of guys like Alvarez and Pete Alonso and even like Brett Beatty, who you're like, maybe they'll have the best season of their career, and that could really propel something. And I think unless we're talking about, like, Marte potentially having the best season of his career, then he falls more into that role player. And yes, if every one of them, if he has a great year and Omar Narvaez has a great year, maybe on the whole they end up in the postseason, but it won't be because of him.
I like the way that you approached it with your list, and I think that's what makes it intriguing, is that everybody goes at it with a different mentality. Like, for me, I did it based on who I think is going to have positive production, not necessarily the negative impact. That's why Marte wasn't on my list. I hope he's doing well. I don't think he's going to have a big impact as far as positivity goes on the Mets season.